halfway through Mass. One goes off, you have to, yep. I won't hold you to it, though. I won't embarrass you if it happens. Oh, is it really? There you go. All right. We don't have a public hearing. No, we don't. Could we rise for the pledge, please? Oh, really? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Sounds like we're going to have another mud season here this week. Sounds like rain, lots of it. If we can get started, we have our minutes of our Board of Selectmen's meeting held on February 21st here. Do I have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you can pass that down to Travis, please. Thank you. Sign. And I guess those were non-public. And then we have our minutes of our public meeting that was held on on February 21st. If I could have a motion to accept.
So moved.
those.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Our first order of business under new business is Heritage Commission member appointment. There's no one here for that, so yes, no? No?
Nope.
All right. Claire.
Provided you with a copy of their. First applicant is Claire Bickford. There is a motion, in your packet. In her membership statement, she says she has previously served on this commission for 4 years. I'm a lifelong resident of Belmont, always have had an interest in considering our past. As a senior in high school, I worked town clerk, Miss Mayor, Cataloging Old Town Letters.
So she's already on the board and she's just asking for reappointment, correct?
Yes.
All right. Could I have a motion?
I'll move to appoint Claire Bickford to the 3-year term as a Heritage Commission member to expire in 2027.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have another appointment, and this is an alternate member, Christopher Mooney. Could I have, this would be a new member?
Move to appoint Christopher Mooney to a 3-year term as Heritage Commission alternative member to expire in 2027.
And could I have a second for that?
I'll second.
And I will abstain from that. Do I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm abstaining. Okay, our next order is our building official code enforcement officer. Front and center with that. Well, you don't need, you're fine, you're fine.
I'll let you take center stage, or would you like me to come with you?
Yes, please, please.
Hi, how are you?
We are doing great. Love the shirt.
I
No,
never,
if,
you can't hide.
there you go. You can't hide with
I
that.
have no reason to hide.
All right.
Just wanted to introduce you to Glenn. Glenn started full-time with us on Monday. He has hit the ground running for sure.
A little bit, yeah.
And we've had him coming and going. We met briefly with the fire department yesterday to kind of coordinate
Yep.
procedures.
Yep.
So we're working on, we did go for a little drive about yesterday to kind of show him some of our frequent flyers.
I'm used to that, though.
Okay.
I dealt with the same thing with Laconia, so it's
Yep.
not a big deal.
That's okay. And appreciate you filling in for us even before you even applied,
That's right.
which was
You
great.
have it.
Yes,
I did fill in for,
yes, to cover us
Weeks,
for,
yeah.
yes, and we appreciate that.
oh, no worries.
It kind of helps to not get so far behind.
Definitely kept us moving forward.
Yep, yep, awesome.
So,
All right.
Quick
Any
question,
questions?
yeah, just
Sure.
quick. Have you introduced to my friend
Who's your friend?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wayne? Wayne?
Yes.
Okay.
We were there yesterday.
I just want to make sure that that introduction's done and I can hand it off.
Basically,
I like him. He's a nice person. I just don't want to deal with it.
Oh, yes.
so basically he quits from that obligation,
Yes.
correct?
I think there's a 30-day clause in there.
I have no problem sitting down with you, going telling you what I did with him, but there's a letter in the file and it's all in there, so
Yeah,
Yep,
We'll sit down.
we'll be looking at that.
thank you.
awesome. All right, welcome, thank you. All right. Danielle, Belmont Old Home Days schedule. God, you're right on the ball here, girl.
There, you're there. I think we're all set. So pretty much it's the same stuff. We did this year put out a vote for the theme to the community to try to get some community input. So 4 seasons, 1. So that is gonna be our theme. And our cover on front getting made and everything to go with it. All the forms are all set, ready to publish on the website. It's really the vendor fees, the streets are the same exact streets as last year. We are still keeping the road race at the earlier time that Chief Winowski wanted it last year, so we can get it out of the way early in the day. And I did, at our last Old Home Day meeting, we did come up with like the preliminary schedule, so I can put those off for you, but it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
We are looking for alternates for our rock wall and bungee, because the companies are now wanting to not only charge us for the rock wall, but also charge people to use the rock wall.
Oh, oh, really,
And we're
like,
not
oh,
doing
yeah.
that. So we're gonna have to negotiate that way around. And then the next big thing will be meeting with the fire department for the firework contract once everything hopefully goes through next week. So,
Okay, all right, all right. And obviously, next week, everything goes, okay,
Yep,
full time.
that's it.
Not that you're probably not already, but, you know, awesome. Okay.
Alright, so that is just
Any,
about it.
any questions from anybody? Pretty,
Great job.
Thank you.
we appreciate all your hard work, that's for sure.
That's the fun part.
There you go, there you go. Thank you, Danielle.
Do you need a motion?
Oh, do we need a motion?
Yes.
Oh, that's right, for the roads. Would someone like to read that off?
Yeah, I'll move to approve Old Home Day as proposed by Parks and Rec Director Danielle for Saturday, August 10th, with vendor fees to be waived, and to approve the closure of Mill and Center Street between Main and Center Street from 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Main Street between Depot Street and School Street from 7:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the road race and parade.
Have a second?
That's a mouthful.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Leslie Drive update.
So we had an intent to cut for Horse Point Road, and in starting to work on that, we discovered that there is apparently a conflict between the town and the state as far as how Leslie Roberts Drive is classified. We were attempting to determine who needs to issue a temporary logging driveway permit, either the town or the state. Currently, that is still in limbo. The town maintains Leslie Roberts Drive, and we pay for that maintenance, but it is across state land. The state had us classified for Leslie Roberts Drive as a Class 5 town road, which is typically what would happen once the town takes care of a road for a certain length of time, it automatically becomes a Class 5 town road. The issue with that, which I've been working with Karen on the agreement language, the issue is that once the town ceases to own the beach or sells off the beach, or it's no longer a beach, however that might happen, the town is no longer responsible for the maintenance of Leslie Roberts Drive. If we allow it to continue to be classified as a Class 5 road, we will continue to be responsible for that road once the beach might cease to exist. with the District 3 supervisor. And right now, it's kind of gone to higher ups for the state to try to determine how they're going to classify that road because it's such a unique situation.
And the posting of the road?
There is no posting because we don't know whose authority the road is under. However, on the advice of our legal counsel, we submitted a letter to the person who is doing the work and told them that we would require a road bond for Leslie Roberts Drive, regardless of whose authority it's really under. The town pays for the maintenance on it, would be responsible to fix any issues that might happen.
Now,
I
does that
believe
include
he
the
paid
trail?
the road bond this morning. That does not include the trail. We don't have all of the pieces of information, but we just, I believe yesterday, got or found a copy of the agreement that we have with the state on that trail. So some additional research will be being done on that. But the intent of the logging is to move the access to that property so that it no longer traverses the trail at all. So in the long run, that is going to be a benefit because they'll just go further up Leslie Roberts to get in, and that trail will no longer be part of the regular access into that property.
We knew at some point that that was gonna be an issue because of just the piece of land. It was kind of landlocked. Was it landlocked? But with a right of way, if I remember.
It is sort of landlocked, it's an access easement to an access easement. The question to the state of New Hampshire, and which is where the confusion lies, the documentation that we have shows Leslie Robert Drive as a limited access right of way. The town maintains it as part of the agreement for the limited access right of way to the beach, for use solely for the beach. Once the beach, if for some reason the town decided they're gonna close the beach, it's gonna sell the beach, it
Which isn't gonna-
self-extinguishes, the agreement goes away. That's where we're kind of working back and forth, and Colleen and I have been back and forth several times as to the status. And typically, if the town maintains a road for 5 years or more, it would legislatively become a class 5. However, we're maintaining, our kind of side of it is we're maintaining the road as part of an agreement, not that we are, attempting to maintain it just for no other reason other than beach access.
Yeah.
But as Colleen said, we've seen a plan that would, because currently right now, as you know, to get up to that little house that's up on Horse Point, Horse Point, from an old map we found, actually would have been parallel to the trail, but eventually when the trail was constructed, it was kind of over the top of what is now the Winnie Trail, is over more Horse Point. So and to get up there, you drive over the entrance to the
Right,
trail and up
right.
to the little house.
Right.
So.
All
And I
right.
believe as far as the town has always been concerned, it's been private. But the state we found out, has classified it class 5.
Class 5.
So we've never maintained it like a class, so to be a class 5 road, it would have to, like these emergency lanes, to become a class 5 road, would have to go through all new town subdivision regulations and built to town standards. That beach road was never done that. Was never built like that. So
Sure.
we basically, until the state came through and said, oh, it's class 5, I disagree with that. We've never maintained it like a class 5 road. We've maintained it like a private/emergency lane.
Sure. It's
So
a road to the
there's
beach.
so many
It's-
gray areas, it'll be good to get it figured out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Awesome. You guys seem to be on it. I mean, obviously, the state is hurry up and wait when it comes to that kind of stuff,
And we
so.
did receive the bond this morning.
You did?
Yeah,
So they're going to,
because regardless of who is jurisdiction is under, the town pays to maintain it to the level that it is maintained, so.
so if they go in and destroy that
we have
road,
funds to,
we have funds with the bond to bring it back, and,
man-hours and some materials.
Well, and there's a wet area through there, like.
I know.
I was talking to Karen, there's like a river that goes through there, and I don't know how they can get through there without doing
Damage.
adequate state permits
oh, yeah.
and going through all the due diligence that you would have to do, as I would have to do, or any one of us would have to do, to put some type of, even a temporary, like,
Yeah.
culvert through
Yeah.
that situation, so.
Any kind of crossing.
Any type of water crossing.
Yeah, because now loggers have to, they can't drive through rivers, so to speak, or waters.
Not
They
like
have
that,
to.
it goes like this, and
Yeah,
and it's a river, so you would have to fill it in a very thick,
yeah.
I mean, they need to make a plan for sediment,
ENS controls and.
everything.
interesting. All right. To be continued then, obviously. Okay, all right. NHPDIP update.
All right, so me and Steve have and Steve, I'll let you come up there. We have some
Morning, Steve.
kind of some unsettling news that will affect not only the town of Belmont, but every town, county, school in New Hampshire drastically. So there was a bill put forward, SB 553, and I've been told it's been past the first 2 steps. I believe there's one more. So I'm going to kind of read off a little bit, a statement that was kind of drafted from the PDIP group, and while I was away on vacation, Steve actually talked to Beth, one of our account managers, and he can kind of fill you in on that conversation. So as you know, all of our capital reserves are all in trust funds in the PDIP.
Right, and we've been getting some really good interest from those
Yep,
funds.
and then
Correct.
we put
A little over
our,
5%.
Yeah,
and then we've been putting our, basically our cash flow and operating money there to gain some, and we move it when we need to.
that's
and
correct. Yep,
So, so just a little background from this email that they sent out to all of the municipal, towns. The New Hampshire PIP was formed by legislation in 1993. At that time it was created. There was uncertainty in the banking sector following the collapse of several New Hampshire banks. While the industry has improved since that time, recent history has shown that banks are not fail-safe. The New Hampshire PIP offers New Hampshire public entities, including but not limited to towns, cities, counties, SAUs, school districts, trustees of trust funds, agencies, authorities, commissions, and the state, an option for investing funds into a program that focuses on safety, liquidity, and competitive return. Until last year, the PDIP was overseen by the New Hampshire Banking Department and an advisory board. It is now overseen by the state treasurer and an advisory board. There are over 240 investors in the PDIP. Every entity, in the pool is given the same rate of return regardless of size. There is no negotiating a rate based on relationship. If Senate Bill 553 is enacted into law, the pool's ability to offer a competitive yield would likely be impacted. The yield on the pool would be driven by the rates the banks would offer the pool for deposits. The pool providing a return of 5.4% currently. The pool is rated AAA and S&P, the highest rating available for a pool. There are 43 banks doing business in New Hampshire, and only 3 have a credit rating of A1 or higher. No investor in the pool has ever lost 1 penny. Then it goes on to about a study. If SB 553 is enacted, the pool is likely to cease functioning. The pool's ability to offer a competitive yield would be driven by the rates that banks in New Hampshire would offer the pool for deposit. Would a bank offer the same or better rates than they offer a public entity that approach them directly for a deposit? SB 553 will end competition between the pool and the banks, resulting in a reduction in an entity's return on investment. Please let your representatives know of your concerns. SB 553 has been promoted as an economic engine for New Hampshire. The promised benefits are unmeasurable, while the reduction in return on investment is actual.
Yes, so basically, there's one more step within legislation. If that passes, they don't just go out of business, but they're kind of forced to only purchase investment vehicles within the state of New Hampshire, mainly through banks. But that limits them from going into the marketplace and getting
better rates.
better investments. So essentially, they're anticipating with that they won't be around to participate anymore. It's not worth it for them to do it anymore. So essentially, they're managing about $600 million in funds. They anticipate that will come down. And what Beth spoke to me about is if they ever got to $100 million or $200 million, because people were forced to kind of leave that, they would just shut down because it's just not worth it for them. If this last step passes, really they have until June of '25 to continue doing business the way they're doing, buying the investment vehicles that they're buying. Come June of 2025, they are then forced to kind of go through the local banks. The local banks can't support this size of investment. So essentially, it's not worth them to do it anymore. Competition will be out. Local banks could lower their rates even further, and we'll kind of be forced to do business with the local banks.
So at this rate, we kind of sit tight and wait, I guess.
So my take is yes. So one, we have to kind of wait for that third step to happen. Even if it does happen, we have until June of 2025 to kind of withdraw. My assumption is so will every other town, because
Sure.
the rate is much
Right.
higher.
So if this does not pass, is it business as usual?
My understanding is yes.
I just looked it up real quick, sorry. I will
Okay.
say it's most likely gonna pass.
Oh, yeah.
It came out,
It's already passed.
Yeah,
it came out, well, it came out of Senate 24-0, and it's in the House right now. I just looked it up on my phone.
Right, so it's already passed.
And it's
through.
bipartisan, there's Democrats and Republicans on it, so
Yeah.
it's probably most likely gonna pass. The only chance we would have is Sununu vetoing it, which I don't know if it's made by Jeb Bradley, who's the Senate president, so.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice part about this vehicle is the liquidity of it. So not only just the interest rate, but they invest a lot of the money in short-term commercial paper, basically. So that allows them, or us, to have access to the money with a great rate at a quick turnaround.
So what do we do? Well, okay, let's just say it happens. Do we go out there and negotiate with banks? It's really hard because it's just,
So
they're
although
all gonna compete against each other.
Correct, so now competition is gone,
Right,
right, so now they don't have to.
they don't have to.
In just my experience of looking at banks across the country, even though interest rates have risen, treasury rates, real interest rates, large banks, large institutions, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, JP Morgan, they haven't raised their money market rates. Now, money market rates are based off of a short-term interest rate. The short-term Fed funds rate now is over 4.7%. They haven't moved theirs. They're still giving 0.5% and lower.
Yeah.
These are large institutions.
Yeah.
I don't see, there's no incentive for them
Yeah.
to increase that rate. The benefit of the PDIP, they can go to the marketplace with a large pool of money, and when bonds would come to the market, they could bid on those bonds. It's kind of a process for how investment firms do it. They bid on those bonds, and then, they offer $50 million or $20 million, and they take that bond in. The banks
Not gonna do
they're
it.
just not gonna do it. So essentially, they're gonna only give interest off of what they're,
Obviously, the one thing with, it's a management thing, but the one thing with putting all your funds in one bank always makes me very, very nervous, okay? It's always, I'm big in diversification. So is it a case where these funds that, we're coming and going, we're putting the funds in to get this great rate that we're getting? Is it then a situation where we're better off to have an account like at Northway or, 2 or 3 banks? But then I know, for you, it's trying to keep track and
Well,
moving monies.
it's something I can look into, and I
Yeah.
can have a decent background on it.
Yep, yep,
I totally agree with you.
yep,
When you're in this investment pool, believe it or not, larger sums of money are safer in
right,
brokerage firms, investment pools,
Right.
et cetera.
yeah,
When you deal with banks, just in general, there's
I know,
a max that you can have in there, so
Right.
it's a concern.
that's concerning.
I think a lot of, I know we're not a business, but let's say small businesses have that concern where they kind of do business with one bank and they have more money than it's insured.
But running the town, we are a business, kind of.
We are.
We are a business in a roundabout way, and we want to protect those funds that we have, because obviously that's how we pay and keep our business running, so to speak.
I agree.
So,
Separating the money to multiple banks, I
I-
think is a safety, but adds maybe an extra layer of difficulty. Also, one, I don't think we would benefit on an interest rate.
No,
wise,
no,
we would benefit
I'm
from a
looking
C.
more on a safe,
Right.
you know,
It's kind of a tough.
Yeah.
We're in a tough spot, I'm sure everyone else is,
Yeah.
you know, like us is in a tough spot. I mean, I can certainly do more research or.
and we have a year.
We do, I mean, I think we do. I think that is going to play out, that we have until June of 2025, speaking with Beth.
So maybe we'll find out what other, we'll be able to get a feel what some of the other, people that have been in this pool are going to do.
Or if there's any more things that we can say to our representatives and or the
Yeah.
governor or whoever to say, this is not a good idea.
Yeah,
Even other towns that, you know, they wrote in letters and
oh, I think we should
saying-
definitely,
saying,
mhm,
this is how they battle, you know, inflation, you know, they use the PIP and the interest that you gain
Yep.
to pay for buildings and to pay for infrastructure.
the first thing that goes through my mind is just another way for the state not to help us out, not to help the towns in this state. We're, you know, we're getting less and less money from the state.
Right.
It's just hard.
So I just quickly read it. They're wording it as they're forcing the investment pool to have to invest in New Hampshire banks. That's how they're trying to sell it to the legislative body.
Right, so they sold it to the investment body as, one, the money will come back to the banks, and then therefore they'll be able to hire more employees. So this is, right, so this is the whole thing. I think, again, the pool doesn't have to disappear. By the way, the pool's typically, it's actually owned by US Bank, and then there's an advisory that's underneath US Bank. So the pool doesn't have to disappear. But through legislation, they're being forced to only invest within New Hampshire Bank. So essentially, instead of going to the marketplace with $50 million and saying, okay, marketplace, what can you do with $50 million? What bonds can you give me in the marketplace? They said, we'll give you 5%, okay?
Yeah.
They have to go to the bank and say, what can we do with $50 million? The bank says, we can't, they're bigger than us, right?
Yeah,
So now you have to spread that out. Every bank will go, all right, so you're buying $2 million of
Yeah.
interest payments from us,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna be incentivized to give that. So it's kinda, the legislation is set up to make this company disappear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was just reading to see how they tried to sell it to the body, and that's how they tried to sell it to the people is, hey, we're just trying to invest in New Hampshire.
Right, and they're also saying, well, if the banks have more money at the bank, they can lend more money to the local businesses, but.
some of these banks aren't lending anything.
Yeah,
I mean, we all get letters saying no more, you know, we're not financing home buyers, or we're not
Right,
this or
right.
that, so,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a tough situation. I mean, I fully understand how these assets are
Yeah.
invested.
Sure.
I understand what they're buying and kind of how they go about doing it.
Mhm.
It won't be duplicated. It won't be you can't duplicate it through the local banking system.
Yeah.
It's not set up for it.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's just.
All right.
Could even the local banks even handle this influx of money that's gonna be coming their way?
Well, you gotta remember, it's gonna be spread out, you know, not everybody's going to one bank with this big pool of money. Every municipality is gonna probably, I'm only guessing, will probably go to their local banks
That they currently use.
that they currently use, no different than us. We were using a specific local bank, and that's where our funds were. We just started taking it out and putting it in here because the interest rate was just so much better, but then when we needed it, it went back into our account. It was an in and out thing.
So look at it this way, I guess based off your question, they're more than willing to get this money
yeah.
back.
Of
Because
course.
what they'll do
Yeah.
now is the same thing that this investment firm can do.
Of course.
So now they're flush with an extra $20-30 million. They'll go to the marketplace, they'll buy paper that.
But they'll keep that,
They'll keep it.
right? We won't see that.
They'll keep
Clearly
the spread.
designed for the banking industry.
Yeah, they'll keep what's
Must've been a
called
lot of
the
good banking lobbyists that were,
spread.
push this.
You think?
I think we knew when we signed up for this, it was too good to be
it
true.
was too good to
long.
be true, yeah,
long.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, the state stepped in to make it. It's,
Yeah.
you know, other institutions can use companies like this, and they do. And other individuals use
Yeah.
companies like this to benefit, but the legislation's kind of.
Just read the sponsors and look at their donors.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So we just wanted to update you that that's kind of what has hit us, and we've got a
That's not a year, or
And
we have
that's
a
based
year.
off of the legislation passed, and they're saying, at that point, you know, this company has to start adhering to what will eventually be passed.
So obviously, not that it's going to do any good, but, I would assume that we're going to send our own letter just to, you know, maybe we'll send our letter to the governor and tell him to veto darn thing. But again,
Yeah,
I know,
it's
Yeah.
passed pretty good, I mean, even speaking with Betsy, you can kind of tell the writing was on the wall, speaking with her.
Yeah, the effective date is upon passage, which is quick. That's quick for that.
all right. Okay, well, keep us
All right.
posted,
Thank
and I
you.
guess we'll have to put our,
Yeah, I mean, we can look at options, but again, it's more
It's-
difficult.
yeah, it is.
If it was personal money, you can
Yeah.
go to the marketplace, but because it's town
Because
money,
it's town money.
we're
Limited.
managing, paying bills and payroll, et cetera.
It's in and out, and
It's in
and we've
and-
gotta have it available today, not next week, because sometimes
Correct.
when you do these types of investments, you might need some money, but you're not gonna get it for 2-3 weeks, so if, yeah.
1,000%. So
Yeah.
the real benefit was the liquidity
Yeah.
that this, the PIP
Yeah.
could supply.
Of course,
If you were to go to, and they're really just a brokerage firm, or
Yeah.
financial advisory firm. So you can go to one, but the liquidity really isn't there. I mean, they could ladder bonds, and they can do things that can give you some short-term money, but it's not as clean as
No.
what we've had.
No.
so.
no, as John said, too good to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
All
right,
right.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
State can always find a way to fuck everything up.
Oh, It's crazy. Do we have any other new business, seeing we've had just great news?
Yes, I have a few things that came in after this was published.
Okay.
The fire department has an update on a grant.
So kind of a last minute thing with the FEMA grant, one of my guys brought up to me that we wanna fix our ticks, our thermal imaging cameras for each truck. So I've got.
I'm sorry, what cameras?
Thermal imaging cameras.
Oh, okay, all right, I missed the okay, sorry.
Inside.
Yeah,
So this is the assistant to firefighter grant, similar to what we had for the SAFER grant, same idea, other than this is for equipment.
okay,
So it's kind of a last minute thing, it's due this Friday, he's been plugging away at it, I didn't realize that we should have gone on vacation, I would've talked to her at the beginning. I went in and talked to her a couple Mondays ago, whatever, she was enjoying the sun. So I wanted to bring it up with you guys, he is finishing up the grant now, obviously it's gonna go through Alicia to cruise through it, and if everything is good, I'd like to be able to sign it Friday and submit it to see if we get it.
Yep.
So it'll be for $35,000, and there's basically a $1,600 match,
mhm,
which I
Which
think the
you-
percentages on that.
yeah, yeah.
It's typical with any grant we have.
Sure.
So this will update, every thermal imaging camera we have for all our apparatus, including the ambulances, because they could very well be first on scene, and the guys carry their 100 gear, and we have SCBA's on those, so if they needed to go in and make a rescue before a fire truck up there, they'd be able to still do that with the thermal imaging camera.
All right.
Do you have the $1,600?
I was gonna
in
say.
funds out of,
It'd be out of equipment, so.
Do we don't need a motion for that.
I just wanted to give you.
Yeah, an
because-
update.
Just to let you know that we're doing this.
Awesome,
So you were
well,
surprised like
I,
the last one.
I don't,
So.
well, this is a little different situation, and when it comes to equipment and,
Better
Yeah.
safe than sorry.
I appreciate it, that's for sure.
I'd say I do agree with Colleen. I think there does have to be a motion. This for the gets a grant for a signature.
yeah, you should get their motion for you to, proceed with applying for the grant, but if it is, received, then I can sign off on the final documents.
So moved.
Yeah, this will be just right, to submit it, it just has to be signed by the EMV. And then I think once the money, if we get it, then I think money's coming in, then gets signed off by you, I believe it's how that is, but either way, I can.
Okay, that motion's on the table.
I
I'll
second
second. John and Sharon seconded it, unanimous, together. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Good work.
There was a request, from the,
Belmont Baseball League.
to, ask the town to do some mowing in one of the fields, and I'll let Patrick step up and.
One of the board members reached out to Buildings and Grounds to see if we would be available to mow what they call field number 5. field. If you go up to Bryant Field, there's that one that's down in the
Yep.
pit right there. So I reached out to the school because that's school property, and their response is they have nothing to do with that particular field because it is school property, but they do not use it for their athletic program. So what's happened, the Belmont Baseball League has taken upon itself over the years to pay someone to maintain the field. And they're looking to try to save some money in the league itself to see if we would mow it. So we went up and evaluated it. It's about 3 hours of mowing. I went back to them and asked them what they expected. I told them that with the amount of fields and lawns that we do right now, we could fit it in, weather permitting, once a week. We could not mow that field twice a week with everything else that we have going on. And we also, I told them if the grass gets long, we do not have baggers on our mowers. So there could be clumps if it gets beyond us. They were just wondering if the town was gonna allow building and grounds to do that. If we have a 3-man crew, we could fit it in once a week and we could do that, with the stipulation that we would have to, it wouldn't be a set day, it would have to be weather driven to when we could do it.
So,
I know it's.
I'll try to keep myself under control. So you're telling me that the school is up there with their equipment and they're mowing the field, I'm saying the big field, I don't know what, okay? And they can't take their mower down over, which it's all paved up there, somebody told me it all got paved. They can't take their mower and mow the lower field on their property that they own, and they can't do that. So now they want us to.
Not the school.
Right.
Not the school, the baseball
is asking.
Or I understand that, but it's school property.
Yeah.
All right, I'm, forget the baseball league. I'm looking at the property.
Yeah.
All right. So now because the school can't take their mower down over the hill and mow that field while they're up there, and they probably have baggers. I'm sure they have all the equipment. I saw this beautiful big one-ton truck with a cat with a second seat in it going through town. I'm not sure why they must all go together, ride together. I'm not sure what that is. But anyways, now they want us with our 2-man crew and a part-timer to load our equipment onto a trailer and go up there and mow the field, load it back on the trailer and come back. I think we need to send a letter. I'm not saying, but I think we need to notify the school and tell them that they need to mow that field. I think we all pay, here I am. I'm no longer a selectman. I'm a taxpayer, all right? We pay enough taxes in this town. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I think you're on the right
I
track.
was gonna say,
We
rhetorical
pay
question,
enough-
why do we fund the school?
Okay, we pay enough taxes in this town, and they have really nice equipment. I've seen their equipment, okay? They have really nice equipment. They have trucks, trailers, whatever. Weed whackers and employees, they can mow and take care of that field the way they do the other field. I understand.
I don't disagree with you at all. I was just responding to the request. I did ask the board, and I asked
The baseball board, or,
the baseball board,
okay.
why doesn't the school do it? And his answer was they hate us.
Okay,
They won't have
well,
any-
they can hate everybody that they want, but this is children that are in our school system that choose to play on this baseball, all right? And if they can't mow that little field for their students, that we all, you know where I'm going with this. This is when I get really
I think we have
pissed
history
off.
on, I think we have history on that when we had the fireworks display there. And then they would go clean that field up, and Craig had to take his own mower there and do it because they wouldn't take
So how about we pay for either half the generator or the mowing? They can pick.
No, we're not gonna pay for either.
They can pick at this point.
As far, at this point, no.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to put the baseball group in the middle of it, all right? This is something now, I guess they need to stand by,
Yep.
all right?
Patrick,
And- Go ahead.
I had a question, Patrick. When does your part-time person start?
June.
So it wouldn't even be feasible anyway, because doesn't baseball season start like the second week of March, the third week of March? Because they've already
Not for
registered all the
BBO.
kids.
BBO's a later start. They're like the rec leagues start a little bit later than the schools do.
It still doesn't matter.
It's
Sharon.
yeah,
This
it's
is- this is
Well, I
like-
know, but it's still,
He's
it's,
still
they are
is.
definitely out there by June, but
Well, the problem, right, it would be different if they weren't up there, okay? But these guys are
there.
trucking around town in 50 million places, trying to keep the trails and around all of our buildings and everything else done, and now we've gotta go up there to mow a field that they're already up there. I have, yeah, Craig,
What little knowledge I have of this, I think the VBO doesn't want to start a war.
I understand that,
They were basically just throwing it out there like.
right, I'm not
Yeah,
trying to put them in the
I
middle,
was initially asked, and I was like, not my deal.
yeah.
Like I said, I've helped them out before, but I think that what they're trying to do is just save a little money every week, because they hire somebody to mow the lawn. I'm wondering if we could, I don't think they want to start a war.
Nope, I understand that.
I don't think they expect the school to do it, I just think they were throwing it out there, so however far you guys wanna go is fine.
we're not asking them to start the war. We're just starting the war with the school
Well,
if we have
I know.
to. I'd rather us start the war.
You're gonna make that more difficult for them.
The hard part is that a lot of schools, they have so much control over youth sports, and if something starts with BBO in the school, I have the same problem with my programs, the school instantly goes on to, okay, well, you won't use our facility.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a matter of us
I
having.
don't
to-
understand-
Bye.
And I know BBO just put a lot of money into that.
Mm-hmm.
They did, they turf reestablishment, they did some, irrigation, they did a lot of work to it.
Maybe that's why maybe that's why the school wants to be hands off. If the BBO is the one who pays for the maintenance and upkeep, they don't wanna be possibly blamed for ruining something.
It's mowing,
Sign a
It-
waiver at that point.
yeah,
Right.
it's mowing.
I mean, I have no issue with our town doing it. I just do think we definitely should, us as a board, should say something to the school because this is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, for another,
Another meeting.
yes. Yeah. Did I go overboard? I'm sorry. If I lost it, I apologize. I'm trying, I just have, yeah, okay. Next,
John, did you have?
Yeah, I just think we gotta send a letter to the school, enough's enough. They rebuilt the parking lot at the ball field, but we don't have a generator at the high school, and that's an EOC, right? So, I don't know who's on first or who's going home, but somebody's not paying attention to the ballgame. And they had the guts to come and ask us at our last meeting, would we wanna pay half after we give them, what, $20 million a year?
29, I think, this coming year.
20, it's,
Belmont pays 20 of it, yeah.
yeah. So, the only building that's got a generator in it for the school system is the administration building. None of the schools, the elementary school, the middle school, or the high school now. And this high school thing was a joke. Those things self-start and run and charge themselves just like yours does on the police station. They've got one in their building, the administration building, but the other buildings don't have them. And I took that up with Mr. Terzi, and I spoke to him last night again about it. It was a candidate's night. I went over to him, I said, I really don't dislike you, but this business isn't working well for me. It's ridiculous.
No other questions?
I have,
We got some more new business.
Just one more new business. Well, actually, it's technically old business, so I can wait or just say.
It's okay, go for it.
So a few meetings back, you guys had signed and approved the settlement agreement with the town of Belmont versus Stephen Farashinian. He has yet to sign that, and coincidentally, the day that legal was reaching out to me about it, the courts themselves basically saying, what are you doing? So he could show up, we could show up at that day, which is March 25th, and he can sign them now. Don't know why he hasn't signed them yet, but he is also on Karen's radar because we have been seeing some other movements and some, what do you call it?
Excavation.
It's okay. He used a church parking lot a couple weeks ago. That was a little,
His house is up for sale.
It's up for sale by owner, and interestingly enough, he's advertising it with an apartment over the garage.
I've been telling you guys, I'm telling you.
oh no,
Well, you
really?
John's been vindicated.
Well, your prior building inspector said he went there and there was nothing there.
They've been in there since he's been.
So we definitely don't have it, a permit pulled for it or it listed as a.
Didn't his son get arrested above the
apartment or
garage in the
anything.
apartment?
Yeah.
Yeah, his son did too, above the garage in the apartment there. I went to school with his daughter, I know.
Yeah.
Do we have any more good news this morning? Do you want us to, some more good news?
If we're talking about the building that's on 106, I was part of the crew that had to secure it when the town took it. And I was in the buildings, both the house and the garage. The garage does have an apartment upstairs.
Not legal.
It wasn't finished, and there was no stairway at the time other than a ladder to go up. But at that time, it was all petitioned off for an apartment.
Yeah, I believe there's probably a ladder, and I believe it goes up and down quite often. I love it. It's kind of like one of those, right?
I wonder how much I get for that.
Okay. All right, what other good news do you have this morning?
That is
We're on a
what
roll.
the other new, so now we're on the old.
Mountain Lake update.
The only update on that is that, before I left for vacation, Craig and I, met with, the city of Laconia, their DPW and both of our legal, the update, basically, we came to the agreement that we would, for the winter maintenance, we would plow the roads, they would do the sidewalks.
Okay. So you come to that.
Yep,
Awesome.
it was a
There's
quick meeting.
There was one caveat too, they're gonna plow the sidewalk over on Route 3 from
Yeah.
the Laconia line to the Belmont Mall.
Awesome.
Which is,
Yeah. One washes the other, so to speak.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
have to look at it that way.
You have to offer some compensation.
That's
for
right.
that, so, cause that's
That's a good deal.
kind of a huge deal for us to have to go over and have to do that.
Sure.
And we do some mutual sharing of equipment
Yep.
throughout the year too, so.
That's for sure.
So that has been signed by both Laconia and Belmont and moving on its way.
Okay. Our next item is obviously, reminder of town meeting, which is Tuesday, March 12th. Voting will be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And, trying to encourage people to go vote. We've had a low voter turnout the last few years, for town meetings. So if you see anyone, try to remind them that it's important. You know, our government starts right here, and it's important that people go out and vote. Okay? I'm sorry?
Oh, I just talked myself.
Yeah, okay. Any other old business? Oh, Patrick.
Just to let you know, the sprinkler head replacement in the entire building is up to date and we're in code.
All right. And I noticed Gove, were they up in the roof?
And
top
as
this-
of tonight, the bell tower will be lit.
There we go. So everybody can drive through town tonight and see the lights.
Down tonight and check it out.
There you go.
I have a question, why do we light up the staircase?
That has, I can not answer that question because that was for the 6 years that I've been here. It's always been lit.
I wondered that too.
Have to light it?
It's actually a nice thing because
It does show up nice.
destination, you can tell someone look for the building with everything, but, it's always been lit.
We at least have LED lights in it?
Yeah, no, we don't have LEDs.
Maybe we can
Yeah, we
upgrade
can
it
do
to
that.
on 24/7?
Yep. We could do that.
Gotta save a penny.
Any other old business? Does anybody have anything? All right. Any public? No? I think we've covered everything. We made enough enemies this morning, probably. All right. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 20th, right here. And we have a non-public session, deemed 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, letter A. Roll call,
Travis O'Hara.
John Pike.
Ruth Mooney.
Tony Patton?
Sharon Champion?
Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, Sonny?
Yep, you got it.
Sorry.
Doesn't matter.
All in favor? Aye.